and welcome to Active Citizens Parliament. My name is Sharon Enemchuku. Joining me live in the studio, I have with me Mr. Wisdom Okechukwu. Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Yeah, good evening, Sharon. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Nice to have you back again in the studio.
Thank you so
Active
much. You're
Citizens
looking
Parliament.
dashing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. You're so kind. Anyways, we have 3 interesting stories for this evening, and we're going straight with the very first one. Nigerian separatist leader Nnamdi Kanu has once again stunned the court by refusing to open his defense, insisting that there is no case against him. His legal team says the government has failed to establish any solid evidence, while the federal government insists justice must take its course. Is this a legal strategy or a bold political statement? What does this mean for the Biafra movement and the government's handling of dissent? Now, that's not all. We move over to Cameroon, where 92 years old Paul Biya has once again been declared winner of Cameroon's presidential election, a contest opposition groups describe as a sham. Biya has ruled Cameroon since 1982, and many are asking how one man can still cling to power after 4 decades. Is this democracy or dynasty? And what does this say about the state of leadership in Africa? Valid question. Finally, we touched down in Anambra State, where assaulted corps members are taking on the government, demanding 1 billion naira in damages for alleged fiscal abuse and neglect. This lawsuit has sparked outrage, raising questions about the safety of NYSC members and government accountability. Are corps members being protected or exploited? Now, we are starting first with the Nnamdi Kanu case and his refusal now to defend himself, as earlier agreed on, Mr. Wisdom. We would recall that before now, Nnamdi Kanu came out to say that he is sacking his legal counsel and that he would be defending himself in court, meaning that he would be his own defense, right? And he came out with a long list of people that would stand for him as witness in court. In that very list, we have very interesting names. We had Nyesom Wike, we had Dave Umahi, Hope Uzodinma, and a host of many others, ex-generals and the rest in the army were on that particular list. And a lot of people, everybody, to be honest, were looking forward to seeing Nnamdi Kanu defending himself in court. Only for us to see today that, according to Nnamdi Kanu, he said, after going through his file and reading it thoroughly, he doesn't see the Nigerian government holding a valid case over him. And because of that, there won't be any defense. Mr. Wisdom, what do you make of this? What do you think Ms. Nnamdi Kanu is really playing at here?
Okay, first off, I've never really been a sympathizer of Nnamdi Kanu, not for obvious reasons, but because of personal reasons. But when we come to this particular case at hand right now, let me first make the notion clear. Nigeria is a crime scene waiting to happen to anybody. Now, let's start with how Nnamdi Kanu was abducted and extradited back to Nigeria. It was an illegal, detention. And ever since his detention, we've had numerous court orders for him to be released. And the federal government has blatantly ignored every single one of them for no reason given. Now, coming out to say he's going to defend himself, I mean, it's legal for anybody to want to defend themselves if the justice system is not doing them right or doing right by them. Now, I have 2 reasons why I feel he must have, changed his mind moving forward. He must have seen that these set of people that he has called to come and be his witnesses must have been bought over by the government. By the way, they are the government. Someone like Wike and the names you listed,
Dave Umahi.
They are the government. And what do you expect from a government that is blatantly holding you captive? Because right now he's not being held because of any crime whatsoever. He's being held captive and he's not giving fair hearing. He's not, represented by the law. And what do you expect when he actually comes to, defend himself? Obviously, it's going to be swept under the carpet. Let's take, for instance, what happened to Peter Obi. during the presidential election. We went to court. They said, go to court. We went to court. We brought evidences into account saying this election was fraudulent. This man shouldn't have won the election. He didn't win 25% in the FCT because the election, the constitution says clearly 25% in 1/3 of the they didn't put that into consideration. What happened? They swept all those evidences under the carpet. So what do we expect from somebody who obviously want 2/3 of the country are against? Because what he's coming for, what he's campaigning for is for the Igbos to be separated from Nigeria. So what do you expect them to actually do when somebody that is actually legally, right to have won the election was not considered?
So what you're saying now is the fact that the justice system in Nigeria is already rigged, and it is not new that this is what they're doing. And Nnamdi Kanu cannot be expecting free, fair trial.
The justice system is not rigged. It is doomed. Like, we don't have a functioning justice system in Nigeria.
So now, with this particular case now, how do you think it's going to affect IPOB's morale generally? And are we seeing, first of all, let's look at the Southeast and what his detention has cost to the Southeast since his detention. We are seeing the Monday sit at home that has not been changed ever since his detention. Now, is this something that is going to continue as long as Nnamdi Kanu is detained? And apart from the Monday sit at home, are there going to be other cases that would spring up as a result of this?
One thing about Nigerians is once we start something negative, we hardly ever go away from it. And if you are somebody who is in the Southeast in Nigeria, you know that Mondays have automatically become a weekend.
Holiday.
To most people, you get. So that aside, that one safe, I don't think there will be, even if it's going to change, it's going to take a lot of time before things normalizes. And for the morals of the IPOB members, the morale is always going to be there because, one, they are being marginalized. They are all coming. One thing about the fact that when you're oppressing people, and even on top of that oppression, you're taking away their rights to actually live according to your constitution that governs them. What happens is they would revolt. It's just the normal way of life. They are definitely going to revolt. So them holding Nnamdi Kanu captive for all this while and not letting him to express his fundamental human rights, it's only going to infuriate things the more.
All right. Now, you've said that, right? And this is what a lot of people think as well. But just the other day, we saw Simon Ekpa as well, the court case and the judgments and all of that. So we've had Simon Ekpa, now Nnamdi Kanu, now Simon Ekpa. Now, do you think that with all of these backlash that is being targeted at these voices that are supposed to be for the separatist movement, for IPOB, do you think this is going to discourage further agitation, or it's not going to? Because what you're saying now is that it's not going to put a dent at all on their morale. But with all of these cases that we're seeing, how do we think it's going to influence people's morale?
First off, Simon Ekpa was never after the good of people. Starting off from when he took power because of the illegal way that, Nnamdi Kanu was abducted. He was never the leader of the IPOB movement. Now, because of the way he got into power, because when there is vacancy or vacuum in a system, someone would definitely take position of that vacuum. Now, whether it is the right person or the wrong person, someone most definitely would. And we saw that Simon Ekpa took position. Every action that Simon Ekpa has taken since he took position of power has been detrimental to both the IPOB members, both Nigerians, both the people he's trying to, advocate for. So I feel the best thing that Nigerian government can actually do for the South is to let this man go free. He has not committed any crime. He has not incited any violence. The person who has incited violence is Simon Ekpa. And
all right, so now, Mr. Wisdom, I just want to butt in here with the fear. There's a fear that the federal government has, right, with Nnamdi Kanu's case. And if after all of this time that Nnamdi Kanu has been in detention and he's finally released, can you predict what will be the next line of action for Nnamdi Kanu?
If he actually is released, it's kind of tricky because, for one, he has never backed down from what he believed in, and that's in the separation of, you know, Biafra or the Igbos from Nigeria. And ever since he has been on this movement, and when he was, you know, captured and arrested or whatever, Nigerian government has given him more reasons to stake his claim. More reasons. I mean, he predicted the election in 2023. He predicted it before he was arrested. He said that the Igbos are not going to get into power. And that's exactly what's happening. There is this marginalization that's happening in the South. I'm not saying it because I'm Igbo. I'm saying it because that's what's happening. You get. So I feel even though he's going to be released, it's not going to change what he stands for. But at least we're sure that he's going to, you know, reduce the violence in the Southeast, because people that are being violent in the Southeast is as a result of the fact that they are agitated, that this man that stood for truth is wrongfully indicted and captured and detained.
All right. Now, so we're looking forward to that period when we'll see the release of Nnamdi Kanu. But until then, we'll keep having this discussion. Talking about nations, especially the African nations, we are moving over to Cameroon, where 92-year-old Biya has again been declared winner of Cameroon's presidential election. Now, just a quick backstory. He has been in power since 1982. So he's been in power for 40 years. But Wisdom, my question is, for 40 years, how come in a democratic nation as Cameroon, Biya has remained politically untouchable?
Please, Sharon, I would advise you refrain from that statement, democratic, because there is nothing democratic about the nation.
It is what is written. No, I'm just asking based off of what they call themselves. It's the same thing as calling Nigeria a democratic nation when we see undemocratic things happening. So constitutionally,
at least with Nigeria, what is happening in Nigeria is the fact that we are framing that we're democratic. We're practicing some level of democracy, but we're not democratic to the fullest. But in this particular situation, what is actually going on here is a system that is, do I call it what's the word? Yes, because this, you can't tell me that one person can lead a country for how many years? 40 years. Do you know what 40 years is? It means almost that he has seen the entire lifespan of the youth of his country. And that is not democracy in any way, form or kind. Because you have to give people, the reason why leadership is being rotated is because people are supposed to vet what you've done. And this problem is predominant in Africa.
It is.
You see a couple of African countries where the leaders hold on to power as if it's their family business. It is not the way it should be.
So now for this case now, and you have said clearly we can't call Cameroon a democratic nation, and a lot of people would not agree more to that. Now, with what is happening in Cameroon, let's just look at it holistically with what is even happening generally in other African nations. We saw what happened in Nepal, what happened in Madagascar, and when you speak to Cameroonians themselves, they are coming out to cry out for help. What is the way forward for most of these African nations, like you rightfully said, where they are practicing democracy in paper, but not in truth?
What's the name of this African guy, the French-speaking country where they just had a coup?
Nepal?
No, not Nepal. This one that the guy took over power. Remind me his name.
Which one?
Okay, let's move forward.
Okay.
Maybe the comment section will remember. I skipped my mind. What African countries need is revolution, and until the revolution hits them where the system of government there is completely changed, nothing would move forward. I'll tell you, Sharon, the reason why this man is still in power is because he is benefiting massively.
Of
because
course.
when a leader is in power and he's doing selfless deed, like he's selflessly empowering the country, he would not want to remain in power.
Oh.
The only reason why they are clinging to power with their full chest is because when they leave power, they have nothing else. Politics is what sustains their livelihoods. Politics is what gives them money. Politics is what makes them relevant. When they leave politics and people start putting proper structures and proper investigations into how they led, you find out that it is anarchy all the way. You will not tell me that there's only difference between Cameroon and North Korea.
Okay, so
At
for
least
that
Korea.
African country, were you talking about Burkina Faso?
Yeah, Burkina Faso. Thank you very much. You see, since this young man became the president of Burkina Faso, the country has excelled. We're seeing development in every single sector of government.
Yes.
It's a no-brainer. It's not something that is rocket science. The only problem that we're having in Africa is that this old man, because he's 90. 92. What is a 92-year-old man still wanting in politics?
Almost 100.
What is he leading? He should be in his family, in his house, resting.
And then what's the retirement age exactly?
Exactly. There should be a specific age where this person is no longer fit to be a political leader.
But you know that we are seeing that in other African countries.
Exactly.
Because if you also look at, that's why we also need to specify, right? When you look at the constitution, for you to run for a political office, for different political office, for the president, you have to be 35 and above. For other ones as well. But it's just 35 and above.
But I feel that above should have a cap.
Exactly.
It should have a cap. It shouldn't be 35 till you're dead.
It means 35 to 165. You can lead as long as you are still alive. So I think that when we are talking about these things, the constitution and also Nigerians, we need to learn from these things. Let us not, this is happening to Cameroon. These are our brothers and sister African nations as well. So when we're looking at the constitution, I feel the 35 years and above should be very specific.
Because
at what age?
What happens is when somebody with old age comes lesser like cognitive.
Of course, your body starts it won't work as it used to when you were 25.
Get me? So for a country that wants to move forward, you're not expecting a 92-year-old man to be making revolutionary decisions. Because first off, this man was not born during the era of technology. So if you're telling him, there are a lot of our fathers and our mothers that if you tell them anything about technology, they will tell you, you people are talking nonsense. So do you expect somebody that is 92-year-old that was not raised in a certain, era and a certain generation to be making decisions for people who are in that particular generation and time?
One thing I fear the most is this whole monarchy, right? And it's a very funny way. Before, what we were taught is that there are different types of government. Now, monarchy happens where in a royal setting where the king rules and then pass on the baton to the son. Yes, the son does the same thing there. But I'm seeing monarchy sleeping into our system of governance, right? Into democracy, for instance, where you are seeing a situation where the father, let's take, for instance, Paul Biya has ruled for 40 decades. Now, did you know that the fear of Cameroonians is not just that it is Paul Biya that is going to end the rule, right? It is the fact that what if he dies? Because the way he has grasped power is as though he's not letting go until he dies. So what if he dies and he now appoints his son, to rule? So they have completely ended the system of election in that country. Now, what would not be the fate of Cameroonians?
I wouldn't be surprised if you go there and you find out that in his family, at least 2-3 persons are already
in politics,
in the hands of power.
And we have that in Nigeria.
Obviously, Tinubu and his son, Sheyi Tinubu, and
the daughter.
And Tinubu is already vying to become president. So it's funny, but at the same time, it's not funny because when one family is dictating what happens in a country, it would not be so far away before it becomes anarchy.
Exactly. Now, a system or a country where they do not practice rule of law, it's completely chaos. It's going to be chaotic when you look at that. And for a democratic nation, as we have all agreed that Nigeria is a democratic nation, these are things that we need to cut at the bud so it doesn't spring up to bigger issues like what we are seeing happening in Cameroon. Now, we have to move in-house to Anambra State, where before we talked about assaulted corps members, NYSC corps members who were assaulted by the Agune Chamber units and the situation that surrounded that. Now we're seeing that they have come to sue Anambra State ₦1 billion for damages and abuse. Now, just to give us a backstory, that the Agune Chamber is a security vigilante group set up by Governor Charles Soludo to combat insecurity in the nation. And months back, they stormed a lodge that was, inhabited by NYSC youth corpers and accused them of being Yahoo boys and Yahoo girls. During that whole back and forth, not only did they accuse them, they went ahead to be physical and violent with them. And we are not talking boys, we're talking young girls. A particular story of this young girl in question, Jennifer, who was abused, beaten, and stripped naked. Now, that particular video went viral, and Governor Charles Soludo came out to say that he has made sure, he has given the order that their properties that were destroyed during that whole back and forth should be replaced, and also give them incentives. But after that, we also saw a video where an online TikToker went on to have a one-on-one interview with that person, with Jennifer in question. But we're seeing now, Wisdom, that they have come out to sue the Anambra State government ₦1 billion. How do you see that?
Before I touch on the sue, I want to ask a very fundamental question. The perpetrators of this action, what has been done to them? All
right, so when this came out, there were 5 of the men that were in this video, and according to what we heard, they were suspended. We've not heard anything ever since, so they were suspended.
Suspension doesn't cut it for me, because when I'm speaking as a man, I would be very pissed if you do this to my family member, my sister, my mom, or anybody, because this is a fundamental disregard for our fundamental human rights.
Yes.
You didn't just strip her naked, you stripped her naked in her compound. Let's talk about the trauma of that. Yeah. This is where this girl stays. And the video going viral. One, and then the video was leaked to the general public. You've literally defaced her. Everybody in her street has probably seen her, her dignity. Name is there. And her name is there wherever she goes tomorrow. If she gives birth to children, that video can be used to, taunt her kids tomorrow. You get me? So just suspending them is not enough.
All right.
To start with. Yeah. And I feel, without being, too intense about it, that ₦1 billion, in my opinion, is probably not enough, because the government can afford it. It's chicken change to them. And the trauma that girl suffered is intense. You cannot come and disgrace somebody. We're still talking about the one that they did in Ibom Air, and that one was not even, it didn't stay long. And then, if you look at it that way, it's almost as if people in authority in Nigeria pay zero regard to people's dignity. Because even if she's a Yahoo girl, what happens to being civil?
Yes.
You go there in civility. If they are refusing arrest, you go and get arrest warrant. Come and pick her up.
When we had this conversation, Wisdom, we had Ms. Chiamaka in the studio, and she was saying that right now, as of the time we had the conversation, that they were working towards retraining the Agune Chamber unit. Because when you look at this, it is also jungle justice, but jungle justice in uniform, right? They are answering a name, they are under a body, and they have a uniform, right? So, but when you see the things that they do, it looks like it is jungle justice, but jungle justice now with a difference, right? Now, with the Agune Chamber units, and there are other units as well. We have Udoga, Chi, and the rest of them. Do you think that this Agune Chamber, as a vigilante group, should be disbanded?
You just spoke my mind. I'll we trace it back to NSAS.
Okay.
Nigerians came and they complained about the fact that SARS were intimidating people, harassing people, and all of that, that they wanted to end SARS. What did Nigerian governments do? They changed the name. So, coming to say that they are going to retrain them, you can't teach an old man how to eat with his left hand. These people have already gotten used to the fact that they can get away with anything. So coming to retrain them will not have any difference. Even if they want to have the vigilante group, by all means, yeah, I am in full support of the fact that to maintain law and order, certain things has to be done. And having vigilante groups is one of those certain things that can be done. What should be done is disband the hooligans, re-employ or get new people, train them, let them go through training. Not the kind of training that Nigerian police goes through where you go to their camp and it is horrible. Let them go through proper training and then get vetted. Not you go to the street and go and pick one agbero that probably
we had that conversation about the fact that they are not educated, right?
Exactly.
And when you look at their actions, you see that reflects on their actions and the way they carry out their jobs and their duties.
Because somebody that is educated and knows what he or she is supposed to do in that situation, it shouldn't escalate to that point. There is no way, I mean, I know that the youth can be a bit rebellious, but there is no way you meet up with somebody in a civil manner. Oh, see, we are doing investigation and investigation led us to this apartment. Please, can you join us to the station? Let's conclude our investigation. There is no way that person would say no or start dragging with you because you are civil about it.
Yeah.
But when you come and you're trying to enforce laws that you personally are not even entitled to, obviously you're going to be met with hostility. Now, you cannot just come to my house, break down my door, and come and drag me. But you go tell me who you be. You bring your papers.
Right? You just said it, but the way that we have seen it, according to history, where you've seen the police, the way they treat, let's even look at the police right now, the way the police handle certain matters. There was a video that we saw the other day, we're complaining of police brutality, and this man, it's not even to a woman, to a fellow man, was treating him anyhow in the public eye in the afternoon, and they were not ashamed about how they were doing this. You could see the man slapping, the police officer slapping the man. We have seen different videos of harassment that has trended. So now we are seeing the police force, which is a more uniformed body than the Agune chamber. The police is not a vigilante. We can say, and the Agune chamber is new, right? But the police force has been here for a very long time. Now we see the way the police treat people. And I'm just asking, what is it now? You have said that a part of Agune chamber, or the bad eggs or the bad cops in Agune chamber, should be taken out and new people should be re-employed. But what do we see about this history of maltreatment where uniformed men with arms treat unarmed men as though they are criminals? Is this something that can change with just a group like the Agune chamber, or is it going to be a general sweep off when it concerns maltreatment and brutality?
Sharon, you know one thing that is a problem in Nigeria is the fact that even the police, the army, they are not willing to take accountability or see the point that there's this podcast I was listening to the other time, and they called a few police officers, they called the youth, and they had a one-on-one conversation. And you could see that these people are not even seeing that they are doing wrong. They are not seeing that they are abusing their powers, that they are going out of what they are supposed to do. So first off, we need to sensitize them. And you would agree with me that the only reason why it is like that is because they don't. Have you seen the list of people in the police academy?
Yes.
Have you walked through the street and you've seen police officers talking to you? You could clearly see that these people are not educated.
Yes.
They do not know what they are supposed. Because how would a professor be stopped on the road and you're trying to explain yourself to somebody who is probably didn't even attend primary school?
Yes.
There will be no synergy.
Do you know that you just reminded me of something, right? I don't know if you can flash back to when you are in camp, when you go to camp in NYSC camp, right? Now, the soldiers that are in camp, most of the time they are not educated. And when you're having a conversation, or when they are addressing you, what they will tell you is, oh, because you think you're a graduate, or you don't do something and it's man o' war period or something, you're supposed to do a task and you don't do it well, you fall down. They'll be like, oh, you're a graduate and you can't even do this. Oh, you're a graduate. I feel like there exists an inferiority complex within our system, within our security apparatus.
That's exactly what's going on.
So now, how do we fix that? Because since they are trying to, I don't know what the plan of the government is. If they are trying to create employment for uneducated people, I don't know. Should they change the criteria for getting into the police force, or should there be a total reorientation on the whole inferiority complex that also plays a key role with how these armed officers treat civilians who they feel sometimes are better than them?
First off, Sharon, without being negative, I feel this is going to be really difficult to fix because it has eaten deep into the system. But first off, I'm going to give you facts and I'm going to give you figures based off on research. There was a research that was conducted by a particular country that I have forgotten the name, and they found out that when they recruited officials or armed men that scored an IQ level below 120, they tended to perform poorly when it came to their delegations in the battlefield and all of that. Now, we're not saying discriminate. Not everybody has the same level of IQ, or not everybody is as intelligent as each other. But this is a body, this is a system that is meant to safeguard, look after the life and property of the citizens. And you just cannot expect everybody to be able to play that role. It would be better if the number of police officials in Nigeria reduced and we had quality police officials that are there. When was the last time that, police actually did their work? They will stop car on the road, even though it's not even their right to be searching cars and all of that. It's for the road safety and all. But they will stop car. Let's say that they are being overzealous or whatever, and they want to help out. Safety. How many times has a police officer stopped your car and checked the car that the car is actually safe, the people in the car are actually good people? I mean, they will stop you. The next thing, they will bring out their hand for you to bribe them. If you don't, they will delay you, and then they will try to bring out crazy things and crazy expectations. The truth is that what Nigerian police needs is complete reform. Delete all of them from beginning to the end, from IGO for whatever till the least barrette. Delete and
not like this.
All of them. Remove them. Bring new people. Not just fresh people, like bring new people, retrain them.
So you are saying now quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity. Reduce the number. The number is too much because the number of illiterates in police academy, it choke.
So Mr. Wisdom is saying reduce the number of unqualified police officers and give us quality qualified policemen. Well, I think that is well said. Thank you so much, Mr. Wisdom Okechukwu. What a wonderful conversation. We can only hope that the appropriate authorities are paying attention and they are taking note as we have these discussions. And to you, our viewers who always ride with us over here on Active Citizens, it is always a pleasure doing this with you. But if you are yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please endeavor to do so right away. And if you're also yet to follow us across all social media platforms, please do that. Find us at Active Citizens. Wisdom, your social media.
Okay, you can find me at all social media platforms at Official Zosia.
And you can find me on my Instagram.